All right, S&P. What do we do as far as the open? So technically, we gapped up. We sold off. Ooh, tag the top of that magic yellow box. Who draws these things? Anyway, we opened up here. So we got a little bit of a gap up, sold off, hit the top of that zone, bouncing right now. Still a very mild open. Nothing to worry about. If anything, if you went long right there, then you're up, and I would most certainly have my stop in the green if I was long ES right now. Which I could almost with certainty tell you it's going to tag out overnight. Man, ultimately, where do I think this thing's going? I guess that's the question. That's why you guys are here, right? So if we look at just top down, right? That's still technically a very picture perfect bear flag pattern. Now we did in the process of making this, we got up to this zone and almost like checked it, and I say it's a lot like a ratchet, right? It just made that clicking noise, and then it held this zone, which is good for anybody that's bullish or wants to buy the dip. Um, or maybe you're kind of in because maybe you're in my camp. You're just buying now because it's cheap, and you don't care if it gets cheaper because it was on sale. You're buying it anyway. If it gets cheaper, you're just gonna buy more. What I like to do is buy things and then it just instantly go up and never go red. That's awesome. So if you're in that camp or you're just in the bullish camp because you just maybe didn't make a plan, maybe you're feeling it a little bit, um, then that's good. I don't think this is it. So let's see what kind of reports come out on Tuesday and Wednesday, and if they spike this thing down or not. Okay, so if it does spike down, here's the one thing I would probably be a little conscious of is conscience. Am I saying that right? Sells off, hits the top of this zone, never actually breaking through. Yes, technically still very much a bear flag, but that's going to be how many higher lows does it need to make before you're like, maybe I should just be buying. This is why out of all of them, so we got like bear, so there's bear and bull flags, there's bear and bull pennants, and then there's rally-based rally and drop-based drop. Out of those three, that's why I actually hate the bear and bull flag the most, because I'm sitting here telling you that's a giant bear flag, and everyone else is looking at that going, well, it's making higher lows and higher highs. How bearish is that? So you'll have to just have that in your pocket, in the back of your mind, right? And if you say it correctly, how I say it, it's bear flag or reversal. Again, there's always that heads and tails. If the person you're talking to doesn't give you both, they just don't know, or they're so incredibly biased, they're about to risk all your money on a decision they have. Not smart. Steve says, I think ES may get to the 55.70 area before it sells big again. That's pretty far up there. If we were to make it all the way up here, the Bears have nothing to say. Period. If there's zero follow through, zero contesting this, and we climb all the way up there, yeah, we might pull back to here. That's nothing. I would not be worried. Winnie the Pooh might as well be a stuffed animal with a hole in it and the stuffing falling out. If you tell me you're bearish, you think we're gonna go all the way up here? Good story. Go back to, is it Christopher Robin? What's the little boy's name in Winnie the Pooh? I tell him to go back there. Go back there and don't ever come up here again. That being said, if you are bearish, where you at? You'd probably need to get your friends involved. You need some more sellers. Now, the cool thing about that is they can show up at any time. It's an open invitation, and these reports might be the excuse that kickstarts things off. And right now, I'm looking for the bears sooner than later. Lisa says 986 following on TikTok. Is that your TikTok or whose TikTok is 986? Mine says 19. Witness of the America. Is that what it said? Of the American Dream. It says definitely bearish. What is this a chart of? This is the S&P futures. So most of you guys are probably trading it. You're probably trading SPY, and that's an ETF. This is what drives the order flow. This is why I pay attention to this. The other one doesn't matter. The other one's just going to play catch up. That's all it's going to do, which is why I do poke a lot of, I make a lot of jokes when people talk about a SPY gap fill. Anytime I talk about a gap fill on an ETF, kind of just tells me how much they don't know about the market. Real quick, how many are following me live on TikTok right now? Are you talking about the likes? I think you're looking at the likes. Yeah, that is 1,600 likes right now. If you're following me on TikTok, make sure you tap the screen a whole bunch and then share it. All right. So as far as the S&P goes, I told you guys last week I would be bearish. Bearish over the weekend. I am in some 530 SPY puts for this Friday's expiration. So I told you guys last week that's what I was going to do. As long as we didn't just completely melt down on Friday. If we were here or up, I was going short. We did absolutely nothing. So I am short. We'll send. Steve says, I'm long now with the trailing stop. Sure looks like a short-term uptrend. For now, yeah. And this, so with the VIX still being on, guys, this is like I told you a couple weeks ago. The volatility right here is going to make streamers look like fools if they're just not wording things correctly, or if they're just getting ready to die on that hill. You can really zoom this thing in, and for now, until the lightning does strike, there is more green than red, which means that trend for now is still up. Especially if you're trading futures, you can short this until you don't have any money left. It can keep going up, and that's how you get in trouble. So if I was to want to short this maybe directly with futures, that's why I gave it specifically why I went with SPY puts, because risk and capital. There is not a single gap up move, anything that is going to scare me out of that, because my risk is built into the capital, as in it's going to make 100% loss, or I'm going to manage that thing for money. Those are the only two options. There's not I'm going to try to stop out halfway or anything like that. If I was in futures, I would probably have to go long or wait until the red does show up, and you're gonna have to be quick. You're gonna be quick on the draw with that one, because red can bring on emotion with it. And I like to go short before the candle just gets really big. I like to be in management mode after that. That's a decision you have to make again on the fly, unless you set up like a stop short. So like don't short it until it breaks this wick. If I'm doing that, I would look at the pre-market lows and highs. So tomorrow morning, right at the bell, kind of see where we're at, see what kind of range we have overnight, and then put your alerts right there. It's a pretty easy trade, super simple. You could just learn that strategy from a pamphlet. I broke the lows, we're going short. Broke the highs, we're going long. Uh, have you ever copied someone's play and win? No. Why would I be copying someone's play? Unless you're talking about someone in my group. Does it count if I'm the one that taught them how to trade? There are people in my group that post trades, and I absolutely take those trades all the time. If I don't have to think and they post like a decent trade, that's called free money. There's my admin Cody, says he copies mine all the time. Now I would never, and even being in your guys' shoes, if I'm just, and no offense, TikTok, I'm certainly not taking financial advice from someone on TikTok. I'm hoping to maybe change that, but I've seen some terrible stuff posted. But you should be cautious. Like, just because I say I'm doing this or that, so what? I do a lot of things. I've been doing this for a long time. I'll go on win streaks. I'll go on losing streaks. You guys need to fully understand everything you do. Copying somebody is a fast way to lose. And I know, because I post all my trades too. I know what goes on, but you still have to fully understand it. I'll still make fun of you if you take the trade and don't understand it. I don't care how much confidence you have in me. If you don't understand what you're getting into, you're asking for trouble. Steve says, verify all your own trades. I don't care who posts them. Exactly. Steve, what did you say the other day? It's my trade, but it's also my account. There's a way that it was worded the other day, and it was it's my trade, my account, my risk. So yes, I post it, but it's still you're taking it with your money. So that's your guys' money. So some of you guys on the internet, you guys need to hold on to your money a little bit tighter. You take things so loosely, which is one of the biggest reasons gurus became a thing on the internet, because one, you can't make a profit from it just from selling that, and two, you guys just like, well, I don't know it, so I'll just follow him. But since you don't know, you can't even discern if the person you're following knows what they're talking about, and then you just end up getting smoked. And destroyed, not because, well, you could have done things a little bit better, but you meant well, you're doing well, you thought the guy was good. There's an impressive snake oil. There's a snake, yeah, snake oil salesman out there. You guys should be very cautious. Don doesn't copy my trades because he trades differently than I do. That would be wrong, Lori. You've sold a couple of puts or calls. I remember Lori and Lisa, you guys being in a trade, and I was like, it was micro strategies. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to take it. Don doesn't copy my trades because he likes money. um, what do you mean, snake salesman? Sorry, just joined. Snake oil. It's an old saying. I would never buy snake oil, but you'd have to just look up that saying, I guess. Let me finish up these. I'm getting super ADD on this one. Qs again, still a bear flag. Now, the two tickers I'm going to break down after these futures are probably going to make or break this whole entire stream, which is why the thumbnail and title is AI or CPI. It's why it's on Don Fron Show and Don Fron Trading. We're talking about AI right now. Bear flag or reversal. We played the back and forth game. It's kind of like almost like a cursive W, like a real quick one, sloppy handwriting, like a doctor wrote a W. But it is holding on top of that zone. There's a speed bump zone right inside here. We get above that, we're on to the next. We're going to the next yellow zone. So we're just gonna play the back and forth game there. The Russell. Let's just watch the financials on that one. If the financials reject that zone, it's not going to look good for the Russell, and then IWM going down. I don't trade the Russell very often, but if IWM gets down to this yellow zone, the Russell right here, then I will buy. To me, the market still looks bearish somewhat. It's because you recognize an absolutely giant bear flag. And so I think you guys are right to err on the side of caution on that. It sounded like my guru knew what he was talking about. After all, he had a coupon code expiring tomorrow. You got to do it quick. I do like those guys. Got to create that sense of urgency. The stock market might go away. Okay, so let's go back to the NASDAQ real quick. This is what I mean by AI or CPI. Let's get into the AI part of this. There's some tickers right now that carry a lot of weight. And people are real quick to call it an AI bubble, and they're saying the AI bubble is popping, and even we've had these conversations even during the live streams as well, and I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I made this a while back. I said if this is the AI bubble, and we're going to compare it to the .com bubble, right? I said this is 1996. We still got a few years, and I told you guys that if it's a bubble or a balloon, it's like fresh off the shelf at Party City. There's no air in it yet. We might have just put some air in this thing. And I'm talking about, and if you followed Palantir's earnings, this is what's shifting everything. Right now, if the market is in trouble, you can't afford not to have AI. If you can't afford an employee, you know it's a lot cheaper? A completely automated system that doesn't need a bathroom break either. And it's a million times more accurate. And so Palantir's just jumping up, and it just makes me think some of these AI tickers, we're just getting warmed up, and NVIDIA is one of them. And so in NVIDIA right now, I bet this zone right here, let me make it bright yellow so you guys can see it easy. Remember, if it's a bright yellow zone, because I'm talking about it, this will probably make or break the market this week. If NVIDIA holds this and pushes up, NASDAQ's going with it. If NVIDIA breaks this, I would like to say it's going to that bright yellow zone at 90, but man, if you've been watching this, anytime NVIDIA gets below 100, it's getting bought up by everyone, or at least all the politicians. They're snapping this thing right back up. It's just like what I imagine to paint that picture is Nvidia went below 100, someone's alert went off, and then a mass text went out to everybody, and they just log onto their phones and started buying. And so that's I just as the economy gets in a rougher patch. I don't know if we've talked about it on YouTube. Um, can you afford not to be an AI? If the economy is rough, we've talked about everybody dialing back expenses and all that, but one of the best ways to dial back expenses is AI, and Nvidia happens to make the shovel for that. And we're talking about this is not the second ticker. Look at Palantir. Palantir basically just said everybody's buying us, and they're only buying more. Uh, that's the TLDR of last week's earnings. This thing's continuing to go up. So after really looking into Palantir's earnings, I really think I used to do all my stock stuff on Don Fran's show, and then I just converted that to an AI only. You guys saw I sold every dividend ticker, my old dividend tickers. They still call me Dividend Don, but that's because Nvidia, Meta, and Tesla are my top 3 dividend plays. I still can't say it with a straight face. But I sold all my dividend stocks, and I went all in AI because I just don't think people are seeing what's coming. I've referenced people being like ostriches with their head in the sand, or just flat out they just didn't do the research, and it's gonna smack people in the face. It's gonna be abrupt. So if you guys didn't hear, so Elon even has Optimus in the Tesla factory. BMW also has the figure. You guys remember we talked about Figure 1 robot? They have the second version, Figure 2, and BMW has that robot replacing humans in the factory. So I think it's going to happen fast. Anyway, I don't think we're in the bubble yet. Uh, Back to Nvidia. I've said this for a while, so I'm just gonna say it one more time. The last last earnings I said would be green, but the next earnings is gonna be red. That's all happened so far. And I said this one's gonna be red because if we look at the last 4 earnings, the the bar was set literally on the floor. All they had to do was show up and they beat it because it was AI, right? Now it's going to be AI earnings compared to an AI earnings, and the growth will still be awesome. They'll still say the same things, but it just won't be as exciting, right? It won't be as new. So I'm curious if that mixing with maybe the market selling off just leads to a red earnings in Nvidia, and I don't know if it's just because I just like Nvidia. So just to be honest, guys, I do have a bias. I very much like Nvidia, but there is also a very real chance that they come out and say we still can't keep up with demand. I expect them to say that, but things are still getting nuts. We haven't slowed down a bit. I couldn't tell you where the end of that tunnel is if we tried. And then we have another green earnings. And if Nvidia comes out with a remotely close earnings as it did the last 4, the bear market thing's over with. That's going to take NASDAQ right to the top. The Russell might still be just drowning in sorrows, but other than that, it could be a pretty decent day in the markets. So that's a couple weeks from now. You guys still have some time. Just something to think about. It's in today's video because of just this right here. If that's the high or low if this is the low for Nvidia, again, a little bit of bias. Then if this thing sends it, I don't know what CPI would have to be for the market to be red. Pair that with Meta. Meta's my number one position. It's also I think one of the better AI tickers out there. They're trying to make their own AI. They were one of the first ones in it, so they went out and locked down all their power or their data centers. So they have most of their data centers here in the United States with clean power, forcing a lot of other companies to go overseas. That tells me they were so far ahead, and that I think is going to be a huge advantage. But that also tells me people just don't know how much of an AI play Meta actually is. And if I was going to build an AI off of human emotion, I would want everybody's emotional status, every highlighted picture they posted on Instagram, which Facebook and Meta just happens to be that, would have the best AI out there as far as human compatibility. Steve says you can only double your earnings so many times in a row. Um, yeah, but if you look at an S curve, And that explosive growth, to which I think AI is going to be. And then now I'm not going to say they're going to just shout out, "Hey, we're doubling," but it's kind of like Tesla. When Tesla first started really ramping up, it was quite a few earnings. They came out and was like, "Yeah, got it, got it, got it." Still, that's all you wanted. We still did a lot more, you know. So I hear you on that one, but the curve on Nvidia might just be. I don't think it's a bubble. Long story short. So if Meta now Meta had their earnings, I forget who someone else had earnings and dropped this thing, or was that was just the Monday that everything sold off, and Meta completely recovered. If this cash cow gets more inflows into it and gets above this we'll call it 526, 529 zone, there's no way this market is going to be red if Nvidia and Meta are pushing. Meta has been going sideways since March of 24. Good. You should be thankful. I would say more like February. Yeah, we entered this range February 2nd, end of January, actually. So the fantastic part about that is it gave you time to listen to me and buy some more shares, which is not financial advice because I would never actually do something like that. And I'm only saying that sarcastically when I say you don't own enough Meta shares. Now, I've been actually pretty fortunate with Meta and not Meta, selling puts. Back when Meta was down here, I sold the 420 strike puts. Those are obviously worthless, which is 100% play for me. I sold the 200 strike puts on Tesla. Look where that landed. The close, $200 flat. I did not get assigned the shares. So I have sold 160s, 170s, 175s, 180s, 185s. I have moved my strike up so many times selling puts on Tesla. I'm telling you guys, it's about to be a brand new course. You know how to make infinite money? The infinite money glitch? You just sell whatever puts you want on Tesla, and it's going to climb up, and you're never going to get your shares. To be clear, guys, I actually want the shares, which is why last week I sold it and it was below $200. I was like, all right, I want the puts. I'm going to sell the 200 strike because I'm buying it there regardless. And it pushed up and closed at 200. Yeah, so I still didn't get assigned. Now, I will say for everyone on TikTok that's not in the group, they got a good laugh out of that because it literally closed at 200 on the dot. Unbelievable. So what I'm gonna do, and I'm just telling you guys right now, I'm gonna sell the 250 strike puts. See if I can't get shares there. So if anyone can read between the lines, you should probably buy some 245 calls on Tesla because I'm sure it'll scream up there on Friday, and I still won't get the shares. Not upset because Tesla is my number 2 position, so I'll be fine with that. But unreal. Anyway, real quick in the chat, what do you guys think this week is? We have CPI, which is probably going to be just a lot of YouTubers talking about it. We'll probably get some volatility here and there. Obviously, algos will chase keywords on that. Outside of volatility for that day, what's the temperature? What's everybody think the week's going to be? Hashimi, I use TradeStation, and then for the growth account, I use Robinhood, which I've thought about. Maybe I've thought about rolling the Robinhood into, which is the growth account, right? The one we started from zero. What if we rolled that into a Roth IRA? Because a Roth IRA, you can take your contributions out and then your gains stay in there. So anybody that is following that has to keep their gains in an account. I worry if someone's going to follow. That is such a cash cow that people just don't understand. When you're building your nest egg like that, trading account or not, I've seen so many people do it. I have a really good friend that did this. He was making so much money just trading. And then, man, he went out and bought one thing with it. It was like the dam ruptured. And he's spending money out of his account like he's a member of Congress. Next thing you know, he doesn't have a trading account. PPI is Tuesday. CPI is Wednesday.